how to get a business loan with multiple services and products stacked one on top of the other one so you can maximize your funding in the shortest amount and even in the longest amount time possible. Hi, welcome in. This is Michael with Biro Funding Solutions. And in this video, I'm going to show you and go through just how you can add multiple services to get the most amount of funding possible, whether you have bad credit or good credit, low documentation, no collateral, no hard credit checks, no hassle whatsoever, very fast start of the application to getting funded within 24 hours, 24 to 72 hours, 1 to 5 days, 1 to 2 weeks. It just depends on the type of service you're getting into, as well as how about 4 to 6, 4 to 8 weeks if we're looking at a form of SBA financing and more. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please let me know in the comments with the hashtag live or a hashtag replay if you'll be watching this later on. We are streaming on TikTok, but I will try to upload this later on to the YouTube channel. So if this is where you are watching it now, then you can always refer to the description or in the bio for all further information. There's a questionnaire form down below as well if you would like to get a very personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options thoroughly broken down from top to bottom. We're talking about the intro, the type of program, the qualifications for those programs, how they work, numbers broken down if need be, compare and contrast, bonus tips, bonus material, conclusion, and a roadmap on what you should be doing. So this is the topic that I want to spend a little bit of time on. But before that, it's been a great week so far. It's only Tuesday. Hopefully you guys had a great Labor Day weekend as well as weekday on Monday. And for myself, I just spent a little bit of time hanging around the home, having family over, and then having great food, a good time spent, more relaxing away from, a lot of the times when I'm working, I do a lot of stuff every single day. So taking a little bit of time away from that, and so I can recover up here, most importantly, so I can come back and give you guys the best material. So when people ask me, how can I get the most amount of funding possible in the shortest amount of time, even on the longest amount of time? My answer to that is, well, what kind of details do you bring? When I ask that, that means, okay, what are you doing per month in average monthly revenue? Your lowest month, that can be your average monthly sales, highest monthly sales in the last 3 or so 6 months, lowest amount in the last 6 months, average daily bank balances, and it could be a little bit more when we're talking about the numbers. Time in business, what's your FICO credit score at, consumer credit, do you have business credit established? If so, how much? Depends on what service we're looking for, what industry are you in, with a little bit more on top of that. But most importantly, what you have to understand is, if you're an individual, let's work backwards. Let's work from the top tier services and then work to what we consider the lower. So at the top, you have an SBA 7A loan. You have the 504 loan. Any government funding related program you're going to want to get your hands on is usually the most coveted and most wanted program is up here. And so let's say I qualified for an SBA 7A loan, which is another matter. I'm not going to go into all of the qualifications, all about how it works in this video, but I've already created content around it on the past. So if you'd like to view more of it, look below in the description. I'll have some content for you on the SBA 504 as well as the 7A, and then other alternatives too that I'm comparing the EIDL to the 7A and so forth. So let's say you were approved for an SBA 7A loan, or you're thinking you can get approved, everything matches up, and it's just a question of how much actually you're going to get funded for. Do you have any real estate? What kind of collateral? Is it sufficient enough? And a few other components. But in the meantime, you're like, well, I don't want to wait 4 to 6, 4 to 8 weeks. It's more about 6 to 8 plus weeks it's pushed out. You're looking over a month. You're looking more closer to the 2 month to 3+ month range. And you're saying, well, I need money right away. I can't wait a month. I can't wait 2 weeks. I'm going to need funding like today. I'm going to need it tomorrow. But the SBA program is still enticing to you. You have projects for later use, or you're saying it's going to produce to you a bigger return on your investment in the time to come, or it's just like working capital, and that can mean a lot of things, business operational, payroll, on top of growth and expansion. That's what the SBA 7A is looking for, that type of service. And so with that bear in mind, You're getting an SBA loan. You're like, well, that sounds attractive. I like the rates. I like the terms, up to 10 years, usually working capital, business loan acquisitions. It could be that and even a little bit more. With real estate, up to 25 or so years. So you're saying, okay, I want working capital. I'm going to get approved for 10 years. I might get 600,000. I'm looking for 2 million, but without real estate or without the collateral that we needed, we can only give you for 600,000 based off cash flow, equity, liquidity, one or the other. So when we say, hey, we'll get you 600,000 in about 2 months, in about a month and a half or so, we'll go, hey, well, you also have this other program over here where you can get an unsecured line of credit. You can get a term loan on top of it or a cash advance product. And I'll go into some of the rates in a second. But appreciate you. Thank you. From Southwest Florida. Nice. Happy to have you in here. And so when we're talking about getting an unsecured financing product on top of an SBA loan, let's say you got approved for 700,000 in an SBA. Now, over here, you already have funding of a line of credit. We approved you for 150,000. That's bridge money you're using in the meantime before you get approved for the SBA, and then we can get a letter of intent to approve of that. Cross platform, you can call it that. And what happens is you can consolidate whatever you had here, pay it off, put it all underneath one. That's another example. So I needed 150,000 of a line of credit, or I needed that more or less. I actually needed 250,000. Well, we got you approved for 150,000 in a line of credit. Perhaps we added a term loan option on top of that, up to 18 months, up to 12 months. And we got you the rest that you needed for the 250K. Now, while you have that, you're paying it off in about a month or 2 or 3 or so. Then once you have the SBA loan, you can pay that off with what you had over here. So you're not paying the full 12 months of the term loan or the full 12 months of that line of credit that you got approved for or so. Maybe you only paid off 3 months or 6 months. So what you're saying is 12% is a lot, which it really isn't in today's market. You're only going to be paying 6% interest for 12 months? Wow. And what you needed the funding for, and then if you had a term loan on top of that, you're not fully paying it all completely through. So even if you had received 18% because they're unsecured, maybe you received 24%, maybe you received 36% up to 40%. Maybe it's not that high because you're getting approved for an SBA loan, so we won't have to go that hard. And we have to look at a lot of things. But you can get this funding now and use it in the meantime as bridge money, as do like real estate investors. You're doing fix and flips, ground up construction projects, which I'm working on a lot of those right now. But you're taking it and you're using those funds as you need to, and you needed it in the meantime before you get approved for this SBA loan over here you have. That's one way of looking at it. And I'm going to go through a few other examples. Now, let's look at getting you something aside from the SBA 7A loan by itself or in conjunction with these other unsecured financing products. And keep in mind, this is what I want to say before that. You have an SBA loan. Maybe you did take the unsecured financing, or you said, at least I know what I can get approved for. I always recommend if there's a soft pull, usually most of the time that's what it is, at least you get an idea of what we can get you. We'll get you 135,000 and 12% interest for 12 months or whatever it is. Comes out to be calculated. I'll get into the rates in a little bit. And then we go, well, you don't want that. We also got you a term loan, or we only could get you a term loan based off of your you're being over leveraged, or what you have you can't get with a line of credit because of your credit reports and some other things, derogatory issues. So you don't even want it. Well, it's okay. It doesn't show you need the money. Well, we can get you the SBA instead. But I always recommend getting a line of credit if you don't have one. If you need that funding immediately, you needed to get it for payroll, you needed to do it for other purposes, you take it in the meantime, and you're not taking so much of a blow. And your cash flow isn't suffering even more if it was already as a result of it. Now, if you're applying for an SBA loan, usually you're not like dealing with so much bad cash flow, and you're dealing with better profitability. I always say to become better profitably, you have to be doing like 30 to 50% and above. I know that's a hard number to reach for, but the more profitable, the better you understand your ROI into every activity. And that doesn't mean financially. What return on your investment are you getting with building your relationship up with this person? What's your ROI based on this activity that I'm doing with marketing, with this other point? So you have to take everything when you look at your P&L. What is my return on my investment that got me to this number? What did I have to go through to get there? And you have to make the adjustments. You make the adjustments. So without going too far into that, outside of the SBA loan, you don't get approved for one. Maybe you don't want one. It's too long. You don't want it. You don't even qualify for it. But we're assessing you for an unsecured term loan. We're probably getting you approved of about $200,000, and you only wanted $300,000 to start with. Well, how about we approved you for a line of credit of $100,000? So $200,000 in a term loan, $100,000 in a line of credit, that gets you your $300K. Would that be helpful to you? So you have to look at the benefit exceeding the repayment. What is my benefit of taking the unsecured term loan? Maybe it's a little bit more of a medium to higher rate, but it's a higher risk because there's no collateral. Your details are already high enough of a risk. So you have to understand that you get approved for more of a lump sum than you do with a line of credit. So when you have multiple options together, you're like, well, I want the term loan, I want the advance or the loan, I want the line of credit with the cash advance, the line of credit with the term loan. Well, you have to think about what can you get approved for. Will a lender come in monthly, and will the line of credit lender say, I can help you with monthly? Well, we'll help you with a weekly since you're already monthly here, or 2 monthly. You already have other positions. We can't come into another position on that. It depends on what we're looking at. So keep in mind, with bad credit, you are limited. You are looking at not even getting a line of credit. So the whole multi-channel use becomes a little bit more difficult. However, you could take what you can get, and in the meantime, you're working on your credit. A lot of individuals, they neglect that. They try to repeat the same outcome or get a different outcome without having to change the actual problem, which is your credit or your time in business, revenue, etc. So that goes back to the equation of, if you got an SBA loan, we got you bridge money in the meantime, then you look at consolidating, putting it all underneath one if you get approved for that. At least you have the funds there. And then secondly, or third, you're looking at maybe perhaps a situation of a personal loan, or you're building your business credit, or you're doing your credit line hybrid program, and or you're doing all three of those. So we're looking at this, boom, 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 boom. How much leverage do you actually have left? Boom, 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 right here. And then we're building up. Like right now, I have an individual who's looking to purchase land and do a ground up construction on a gas station. And so the 504, as attractive as it sounds, it very likely wouldn't be the best thing to do because of environmental issues is one thing that the lender will look for. Not a lot of lending in that space for the 504 right now. So the other alternative that I actually recommend would be best because of loan to cost, loan to values, is doing a traditional real estate financing route where we can look at purchasing the property or the land, in this situation, vacant land. Most lenders are willing to go up to 50% loan to cost, and I know that's minimal, but land isn't as attractive as any other type of solution, and in today's market it's a lot more difficult. So with this individual, we'll look at doing a situation where we purchase the land, we look at what we can get them, how much you can actually put in, and then secondly, we do the ground up construction project. After the ground up construction project, which we're going to look at about 85% LTV on that, then we look at going from there to the commercial property mortgage situation, if need be. That's usually what it'll go into. So what we're doing here is we're adding a multiple amount of lenders who are then transitioning from one service to a next when you're at that next phase. And then perhaps if you don't have enough to put down to meet the other 50 or so percent, then we look at doing a cash out refinance on how many properties do you have, how many is going to be sufficient enough to get you that, and or a personal loan on top of that. So then we can look at diverging what would be the best thing to do first. And then last would be the cash out refinance and or the personal loan if we have to get to that point. And so you have to look at it as like, I'm putting the little puzzle pieces together. If I don't qualify for this, what is actually available? Like another business owner getting a franchise. He can't qualify for an SBA 7A loan. He wants funding now. He doesn't want to wait till next year for the business to be in about 2+ years so that we can look at those 2+ years of business and personal tax returns completely. So right now you're going to be having to look at an alternative where we're going to be looking at doing a personal loan on top of a business term loan. It can be an online bank term loan, or usually it's an online bank term loan because the unsecured other option with more of a private lending direction be a little bit more difficult for that program. So you can look at doing a personal loan on top of a business term loan, or a personal loan on top of a cash advance. And then if you have credit cards, you have the credit line hybrid program and a few other components. So for those of you who are questioning like whether I know what I'm doing, if you've been here, you know, and I don't have to say this, but I've been helping a lot of businesses in all industries. I just spoke to another trucking business owner today, another one in the hot shot space, transportation companies, construction business owners, medical equipment, home health care, staffing agencies, retail, restaurants, salon shops, anything you name it, I've worked with. So I'm consistently up to date in the market and what's working in the business side as well as in the real estate. And I'm working on all these deals actively, just so you guys know. I'm not just, if I showed you guys my emails, I can't do that because I can't disclose, that's confidential stuff. And I just had an individual over the phone. Yeah, I told him this is very confidential, this is safe and secure. You don't have to worry about this information getting pushed to any lender or whatever lender I see best fit and I've communicated with, this is the best direction we should go into. So back onto the topic. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Have you received multiple funding services in one? Or have you had to build your way up over time? You had to say, hey, I got a term loan or I got a cash advance. And then I improved my credit. I cleared everything, got credit repair, however you did it. Now I can get approved for a line of credit while you have this or you don't, and so forth. So that's the approach you take. With all this said and done, you are given a roadmap by myself. You're shown that if the personal loan is the way to go, well, at the same time, what I would be doing, if you haven't already done this and continue to do so, build your business credit. Get access to business credit cards with higher limits. Go through the credit line hybrid program. You're already proven to have high enough credit. And then you move your way up. Business credit building, you have the credit line hybrid. You're getting access to 20, 10,000, 50,000, 60,000 in limits. So altogether, you're probably over at 100,000 over time. And that's a process that I can help you with. So you're at 100,000. You're building your business credit at the same time. You're increasing everything. You're building trade lines. Multiple ones are reporting to the credit bureaus, the agencies. Boom, you're up on this. So now you're getting an additional 20 to 30,000 on top of all of that. You're getting more flexibility. You have up 130,000. And then perhaps you wanted that personal loan. Maybe you didn't want it. Maybe you just wanted to stick with the credit card and the business credit. So let's say I took the personal loan. Now you're an additional 80 or so thousand. Installment loans. Term loan on top of that with a personal loan. That's how we can get it done. Perhaps a line of credit comes in now because you fixed your credit if you didn't get approved for those credit line hybrids before. So it depends on how you look at it. Equipment financing, a different situation. You can look at getting a down payment for a truck or a couple of them, a tractor trailer, whatever it is you're trying to service, and you don't have enough to put down. Let's just say you don't have high enough of a down payment and the percentage is going to be higher because of the market. So you're asked to put down 30 to 40,000 and you say I only had 20,000. Well, we can approve you for a cash advance or another form of a personal loan, etc. And we can use that to apply towards the down payment of a truck. So you have to understand that, what am I willing to do to get this done? But just being upset and thinking, well, I don't want this loan, I don't want this to happen. You're not thinking about this as a business. You're thinking about this as a home you're living under 30 years. You want the lowest interest rates. You got to look at your business and ask yourself, are you nurturing it enough? You have to look at it backwards and think about your profitability. Look at your net operating income. What are your expenses? I have business owners right now denied. I had denied them for an SBA loan before I even sent it into underwriting to our lender. And I said, this person won't get denied. Debt service coverage ratio is this. EBITDA is this. And a few other details when I put it all down on paper. What's your profit margin? Do you guys look at your profit margins year over year? Not only from an end of the year basis or every 90 days. You should be doing it for every month. You can assess it every quarter, every 90 or so days. Sit down and look at your profit margins. Look at your revenue, gross profit margins. And think about, are you increasing? Are you decreasing? How do you make an adjustment? Because a lender in the SBA is going to want to see at least 2+ years of profitability, and most recent is best. They look at 3 years of tax returns, 2 years profitability at least. Some industries will be like, I wanted to see that 3rd year, and I wanted to see the 3 years in total being profitable. You had 2 years, but you had 2019, you weren't. 2019 you were, 2020 you weren't, 2021 you were. What is it going to be 2022? What are we looking at now? Well, we're not going to take that high of a risk. you don't have enough of debt coverage service ratio to cover everything. So I'm going to leave it at that. There's a lot more I can get into in this subject. I can go on for a long time. I can give you a lot of examples that I've dealt with customers. So I'm just going to keep it short, and I can go on again, like I said, about different scenarios, line of credit, unsecured, secured line of credit with this on top of it, with this credit card, with this, boom, you're building this after this amount of time. Then we get you approved for a line of credit. You took this off, credit repair, but you haven't even done the fundamentals. A lot of you guys want to get up here without doing this. I just spoke to a business owner in Hotshot. His wife is taking care of all the credit cards. She's doing all the personal business credit building, like I had said. And I told him, it's great that you guys have that separated. Let her focus on the credit cards and the credit lines, revolving credit lines, all the back end work. And you focus right now on the revenue-based funding, as well as if it's equipment, how do we structure that? Are you willing to give up a truck to get another truck? How old is that truck? First, is it appreciating? Is it depreciating in this market as well as in the future? Let me come up here. Hello. I don't use Telegram. Can we do this through online as I am traveling? In the bio, I have a questionnaire and all information. Sometimes TikTok is weird, so it won't always show it all. Just so you guys know, I have had, I don't know what exactly is the reason that it's doing this, but it's saying that I'm getting like a compliance on my TikTok because of the type of content. I'm trying to stay within the lines. I know it's a marginal thing, especially when you're talking about financial information. I'm trying to keep it like I'm not crossing anything, and I don't think I am. It's just it nitpicks with TikTok. And so what I would like you guys to know is that I've also been working on another account of mine, and so I have more information and developing new material underneath that if you're already a part of my broadcasted emails, I will probably email that later on. It's just something that I want to make sure that I'm being on top of, because if my account were to get permanently banned, I want to make sure I'm already set in a different one. So you may be seeing me uploading here in time to time from a different channel or so forth, with somewhat similar content, usually similar content. So if you see that, just know it's myself. So I'll leave this open for a few questions, but if you guys need any help, please refer to the bio questionnaire form down below and all information. I have my laptop in front of me, so I have some time-sensitive emails, so I'm looking at them. Anybody have questions, comments, or concerns? Which, by the way, too, guys, if you're a startup funding company or a startup company, your best friend will be the credit line hybrid. That is based off of your credit, consumer credit, 680 and above. And if you don't have that, you can do this as a guarantor. Have somebody else have you underneath their credit so you can get qualified. When people ask me, what could I do with startup funding? I'm just getting started. I have probably 90 days. Maybe I just got started. This is my first week or month. You don't have revenue. You can't go the angel investing route. You can't do crowdfunding and all these other forms. you immediately want to jump on this program. And you also want to do business credit building at the same time when it's all revolving. And for that, I'll try to leave more information for you guys in the description. In the meantime, I'll be over here. I'll leave this tape rolling, but if you got enough information out of this, please feel free to refer to the bio and the description. And/or. Oh, I should say too, I have a lot of emails, guys. I will get back to you. And please be, I know I keep saying this, and a lot of you I have responded back to, but if I haven't, appreciate you. You are getting the best from the best. And I don't say that in a cocky way. I say that in a confident way, that I know what I'm doing. I am an expert business loan broker, in case you didn't catch that or you're just tuning in. So I'm getting constantly bombarded with emails after emails, and in a good way. It's not like bombarded bad. It's, hey, I got email after email, and I will get back to you. I'll make some time tonight and sit down on my couch like I usually do, and I'll be on my laptop trying to email here and there. I have gone in touch with quite a few of you, so do appreciate you for being cooperative, and giving me feedback is most important. Being open-minded and giving me feedback about everything. Is this Bob that I'm speaking with? Appreciate you. Thank you, Bob. I love what you put at the bottom. Let's see. I'm looking at your form. I already have an idea. Location that makes a big difference. Like land, I'm doing right now too. A lot of it. Thank you for giving me those two numbers on the purchase and the down payment. Sometimes people just put one number, and I'm like, what? Which one is? Like, I could tell which one it is, but it's like, is that how much you actually have to put down, or what? What are we looking at here? Yeah, so I'm gonna need more. Like, I need to know. You don't gotta give it to me here, but if you end up finding it, I'll probably reply back to this email with, credit. And I'm not a creditor, by the way. This is safe and secure. So I'm looking at liquid assets as being a part of a concern for myself. And then I'm looking at credit and asking myself, even if you don't know the exact amount, like what range it's in. Like, the higher credit, the better, loan to value, loan to cost, when we're talking about all this. Risky investment, property, the experience that you bring, and a few other components. And then the rate and term, I mean, that kind of speaks that you may have flexibility. That's how I kind of take it. You can correct me, but if you put that in there, that's kind of how I see it, that you're willing to be adjustable. But primarily speaking, when we're doing any kind of a real estate transaction, I want to know credit. I want to know that, as well as experience, matter the most. Now, if you don't have that much experience, it's okay. It's just going to be more of a scrutinizing process, and the down payment depends on what everything's appraised for, what we have to look at. That'll be a factor. But I can work with you on this. Just I would need the I can't pass this down to my lender. Like with what I have here, I cannot go and take this information and present it to my lender without having, at least the credit possibility. Because then we would have to spend more time, and without knowing it up front, we'd have to go through the application process, and then it's a little bit more. So if you could, here, I'll put my email. Actually, I'll just say it this way. My email too, and I'll probably reply back to you, Bob, on this. Again, I'm not trying to make this dragged out. I want to make sure whenever I ask people, what is your exact details here? Like, there's parts of it you can estimate. Other parts, just try to be as accurate about it. That way we're not having to go like 3, 4, or 5 emails back and forth. Like I have an individual right now who literally have a good personal connection with, and then business-wise who is responding, like he's responded back to emails that I'm like, I already shared with you this information. And I'm just reinstating it again, just in a different way. And we'll see what he responds to next time. But he's been like here and there. And I let him know. I'm like, you've been here and there. So that's why I haven't been able to give you the information, or you haven't been able to respond back to me appropriately. So if you could please, just be on top of it. If you're not interested in it, or if this is going to be something you're going to drag out for another 2 weeks because you're busy, at least let me know. So that way I'm not like, the heck is this person doing? They wanted to do it like last week, and it took about a month, or 2 months, just to get this piece of information. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, just know that I am going to be one of the best, if not that you're going to work with, but I'm able to shut down files if I want to. I can say, nope, 5, 10, 15 million deal because of this, because of the people who are not. When I'm going to do something, boom, I get it done. I spoke to an individual today, got on a phone call with him. He knew everything, the expectations. He was thankful. And I appreciate you if you're in here watching. You know who you are, how we spoke. And I speak like this with everybody. But when you're on top of things, I can get moving. Just understand that I will take care of you, but I have to be here. I have to devote 5 more minutes to this file. I got to devote 5 more minutes to this individual speaking about this factor. So if you're not on top of things, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just the work that I kind of bring. I'm very punctual. Not pressuring, though. I never do that. But I do greatly appreciate you, and as well as everybody else who will be forthcoming and presenting their information just like Bob did. There's nothing negative about it, but I'm just saying that the more information that I have, the better. If every field, is filled out to its maximum gain, that's where I will be able to help you most. Otherwise, I'll be looking at this, trying to do some numbers on my end, trying to see the location, trying to see the valuations, trying to see what other places appraised for. I can't even do that, not considering some of the things that haven't been added. So it'll be very helpful for me to see all that. Hi, Bishop. Why is it so difficult for churches and 501c3 to get funding, etc.? Got it. Thank you, Bob. No, and I said you don't have to, share. Don't share any of that. I said it in the beginning too, like, don't want to do that, don't do it. Because that's information between you and I that I protect. You have my word. And so it's harder for churches. No lender wants to lend usually to a church. Are we talking profit, non-profit? It would have to come for a non-profit. It would be coming at it from, do they have an extension where they are making money and making sales with another entity that they own? then that can become something we put into the mix. But most of the time, that's a no. And it is much harder to fund a church for that reason and many more. I can spend a whole actual video. I may make one here soon. But it's harder to fund a church as opposed to a different entity, a different proven business in the terms of longevity. Like if you look at it from a short term to a long term, every lender is asking themselves, what will happen now? Will they go out of business? A lot of the times they come up and they go. That's another concern I see a lot of what's being built, especially with churches, a lot of it, especially around here in my area. Like I'll go and even talk to the individuals who are doing the build-up construction program and a lot of different things. But it is much harder for them to receive funding for some of those many reasons. Anybody have any questions? US, Puerto Rico, Canada, usually. It's much harder to fund anything outside of that. I have a lot of different business owners. If you're using a US banking institution, then yeah, it helps out. But lending outside of those three that I just mentioned, it is a bit more difficult. You'd want to go to like a credit union or somewhere more specifically in your location. I'm going to try to catch up. Today I might go to a game today. Tonight I gotta respond back to emails. Hopefully tomorrow I can get back to you in the afternoon. I'm not gonna say it will be 100%, but I will work on some questionnaires for tomorrow. And can I see what you put the name under so I can bring it up right here in my system again so I can see it? Because sometimes I see the username. I can identify who that is by name a lot of the times, but sometimes I just can't see who the actual person is. So if you can tell me what you put the subject line under, or your first and last name, whichever way you prefer, that way I can make a note of it and I'll put it into my notes here. Let me bring it back up. But again, Fridays and Saturdays are usually my catch-up days. So that's when I really like work on questionnaire forms and I'll start doing all the work that I need to catch up on for the week. I saw you commented. 1 second. Let me open up my notepad. A lot of deals right now are going on, guys. Like, if you guys were to ask me the question of, is it busy? Busy is an understatement. The busiest time of the year is probably right now. Everybody is wanting to get their loan and their funding right before the start of the new year. They don't want to go into Christmas. They don't want to go into Thanksgiving having to think about all that, which you shouldn't. You're thinking about taking time away from your business, your employees taking time away from business. The last thing you want to worry about is cash flow. You want to make sure you have enough cash reserve. So that's why a lot of business owners right now are, I wouldn't use the word crunching for it, but that's what's happening. And I'm a broker, so you guys know this. I'm actually like, I know how to read financial statements, bank statement returns, excuse me. I do that constantly every single day. Did it a lot earlier this morning. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. I saw you or something. Let me come back here to this. I want to make sure I have it all. I remember seeing this. Yeah, I remember that. Let me actually... I thought I did respond back. Let me double check though. Sometimes they land in spam. I see, okay. Now I see it all in here. I saw your questionnaire form some time ago, but I wanted to bring it up again. That way I do this with my other email. Okay, that makes sense. So then what I'm gonna do, 1 second. Okay, makes sense. So I do see your form, I'm looking at it again. I already had revised it. What I would like you to know, I'm sure you have an idea of this. Looking all that information over here. Yeah, that's what I figured. So you would have to necessarily, like, that's the topic of today's video, which if you just joined, I was talking about a multitude of products put together. Yeah, we did. I remember this. No, I remember. And so that's why I'm bringing it up again. But just understand the amount you're seeking initially with a private lender. And I'm looking at your monthly revenue. We've got some work to do to get there. So it could be a combination of a few things that I would like you to do. Especially with your credit being where it is. One of the things that I'm going to send you your way would be recommended. But it isn't something like you're going to earn it in about a day to two. It's just something over like a month to 3 or so months. On top of what you can actually get. Now, unless there was some kind of property, some asset equivalent to what you're looking for, then we can factor that in. But when we're looking at unsecured financing, I'll give you that information. Gotcha. Appreciate you. Thank you for understanding that you have to be flexible with this. And that's what brings me to my next point, and I'll conclude. You guys know how punctual I am, right? Now, don't get punctual with stuck up or, oh, he's sophisticated, or he thinks he's, oh, no, I'm not. I never think like that. What I mean by it is what I bring to the table, nobody else can bring it the way that I do. You guys heard me say it in the beginning of this video. The purpose of it was, how do you combine multiple products to get you to the level where you need to get to? I have business owners who create new businesses, and guess what they do? They come to me directly. They want to work with me. They want to work with the best because I can get you the best lender. I had a recent individual who got approved for like $35,000, $40,000 with another company, lower tier lender. And I went to my other lender and my other provider and a few providers because I wanted to see what they would have thought of this. 200, 300, 400. You're getting up there. So you're telling me I was approved for this, but over here I'm getting approved for more? Which makes most sense to you? You got to look at the repayment. You got to look at the benefit. You got to see the terms. What can you do if you got less of a term? How to build up? Yeah. And I'll respond back to you here soon. If not, hopefully, like I said, tonight I got to work on some emails. And then tomorrow I'll try to do it in the afternoon. If not, because a lot of stuff I have, like, so not bad, but I'm flooded. Like if I was getting like one person, yeah, I mean, that'd be much different. But I just had a different lender just share my content to his audience in a different company, so I'm going to get blasted. I didn't ask for it. They said, Michael, you're doing an amazing job or something like that. Appreciate what you're doing for us and how you're helping our lender. And the lender then speaking with me and then them saying, I'd like to share your content with my audience. This is what we can do. And I went, oh, I appreciate you. Thank you. I had no expectation of it. But it just goes to show, guys, that you shouldn't just go and apply anywhere and everywhere. You may get a different lender here than you did over there. And you're thinking, well, I don't want to go that way. Sometimes a direct lender isn't the thing to do. Where this lender would have been different, but it would have been better to go through this brokerage where I already have that partner lender relationship with directly. It's just better to go in-house this direction because of more advantages, more of a strategic roadmap and partnership. So think of it that way. I've had people who are upset, they've been lied to, guys recently who they were told one thing and the person did another. Oh, and I just released a video on the YouTube channel, guys, on trigger leads and syndication. So I'll briefly touch upon it here, but refer to the YouTube channel to learn more about what trigger leads are and syndication. It's my most recent video that I produced. Trigger leads, you have to be careful. This can happen to even the best lenders, but more so bad and faulty lenders, as well as bad brokers, bad agents, bad companies overall. What happens is, and I have no association with this. I said it in the video. I don't do this. This isn't associated with me. But when you apply, if you get an offer, whether you take that offer or not, usually when you don't always necessarily have to get to the offer stage, just the credit part and so forth, what you provided, the lender or the company, that information then gets stored with the credit bureau companies, the consumer credits. You're looking at Experian usually and TransUnion. Because your information is stored within the credit companies. And so then other organizations then request to take that information and use however they choose. And then these credit bureaus tend to just disperse it the way they would want to, either way. So now other banking institutions, online banking institutions, other private lenders, they have your information and they're trying to reach out to you. So be careful of that. Don't go in that direction. You're going to be questioning, how did they get a hold of me? Was it Michael that did this? I thought he said he protected my information, and I do. It's just sometimes this happens. It's not my fault. It's not even the best of lenders' fault. Just some people out there who have that kind of authority to take that information, and that's how the credit card or the credit companies would make their money too, on those fees on what they give up, as well as a few more. And then there's syndication. Syndication is where your information is stored in a portal that has all this data of not only yours but everybody else's. So think of it kind of like in a huge Excel spreadsheet, like a big factory, and you have your credit score, your monthly revenue, your time in business. And so somebody at any point can just get on a phone call, hey, aren't you, and they have your details, and you go, how do they have? So you have to be careful with those companies that will do that. And I have, again, no association. There's more to this topic. Please view the video on the YouTube channel. Any questions? Oh, it's so ludicrous how many people get upset because, well, I thought you could help me. I did. You just don't want to help yourself. You have an expectation that's not going to work. Simple as that. Your expectations are up here when they should have been over here to begin with. So let me help you come to this level so we can speak. And so when your expectations are just up there, it just sets you up for disaster. So be very careful about what you choose to hear, what goes in one ear out the other. Because I still have business owners to this day who don't understand that what you're doing is you're building levels. You're not just, can't always start up here. Some others do. A lot of people can do this, but you have to start over here. People who came to these lives who don't show up, well, that goes to show a lot about how you care about me. I care about you. Well, it shows how much you care about what I am as an individual. You're looking at me as business. That's what you're looking at primarily. That's not how I look at you. So when people don't get what they want, they just don't end up showing up. People become unresponsive. Well, I thought... No, you just don't know what you're doing, and it's okay. It's time you wake up. It's time you have somebody tell you the hard truth. Nobody wants to hear that, but you should. So at least 2 more minutes. All right, everybody. That will conclude everything. I know it wasn't 2 minutes. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Grateful to have you guys here, like always, cooperating, adding what you need help with, and doing what you can to move yourself forward, and having an open mind, allowing to give yourself feedback to myself. You too, appreciate you. Have a great evening and have a great night as well, everybody else. And I will talk to you all soon. You are most welcome. Talk later.